Hey everyone!
Hi.
As you all know, if you're here on this channel, this is the Crochet Fairy.
Hi.
And in terms of this, I'm the booth babe. So,
Yes, he is my booth babe.
yep, I'm Caleb, and we are going to rank some conventions today.
Yeah, so last year we went to 10 conventions. We had a whole lot of other events that we went to, but today we're just going to focus on the conventions. So these 10 are the ones that we went to in 2024. Some we went to just to go to, and some I was a vendor at. And so I guess let's get into it.
Yeah, which one do we want to start with?
I guess we can start with the first one that we went to of the year, which was Savannah Amazing Con. We went to it in January of last year.
Yeah, where are you thinking we should rank this one?
Um, I think it was a fun convention.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Fun convention. This is always one that family friendly. We take the kids to. It's not too far from us.
Yeah.
It's always good from a vendor perspective.
Yeah, I've had a great time there. It's easy to make a profit there. I appreciate that. The managers of the vendors are very nice, and the kids have a great time there. So it kind of like ticks off all the factors, and that's nice. And we always go to River Street, which is fun.
Yeah, love River Street, love Savannah. It is odd. It usually is in like a cold winter month. It's like a January convention, so you are right there on the river, and it is typically quite cold. The parking is not always the best there, but that's not really the convention's fault. The venue that they are at has been doing a lot of construction over the years, so that has been kind of dicey. But I'm hoping that's going to be cleared up soon if it's not already.
Already,
So
yeah.
yeah,
I guess we could probably check on their website, but oh well. I'm not going to that one this year, unfortunately. I missed the deadline, so that's my bad. But that's okay. I hope to go back to it again next year.
yeah, we have quite a lineup for 2025. So
Yeah. So I guess we can go to the next one, which was a time travel event, and that was the Goblin Market.
yeah.
Yep. So I'm gonna say that this one had some concerns.
Yeah, it had some concerns both as an attendee and as a vendor. This one, to paint the picture for you, most of the content is the market, right? So this is a very vendor focused event. They had food trucks and things like that. One of which was a I love cheese truck or something like
Yeah, it
that.
was a grilled cheese truck,
Yeah,
and that just made me so happy.
yeah, we really loved that. However, two things. It was absolutely freezing, which was kind of odd for the time of year that it was and where it was, which was in Conyers, Georgia. But the Wi-Fi for the venue, this is in a suburb of Atlanta, and you would expect, the internet there to be quite good, but the venue Wi-Fi was not up to par.
It was quite awful,
Yeah,
and so people were having to rely on their service. And the building we were in was like a dead cell. And so you couldn't use the internet on your phone and you couldn't connect to the Wi-Fi at the site. And so therefore it made it very challenging to sell or buy things unless they had cash.
yeah. Um, the building itself was metal, so it was basically blocking the cell phone signal, and then the Wi-Fi didn't work. So it was very frustrating. We had people that we couldn't take cards. So they didn't have cash, but they had like Cash App, but their Cash App wouldn't work in the building. So we literally had people order something, go outside in the cold, do the Cash App, come back in, show us that they had sent it to us, and then we would give them the item. And times that times like 100 vendors.
It was a
And
lot.
it's problematic. They did feed us though.
Yeah, they did, and that was very nice.
So
I appreciated that. The people were super nice. The site itself was not a bad site. Like there was easy parking. If the internet hadn't been an issue, I don't think that I would say that it really had too many concerns because
yeah,
it was fine in every other aspect. And so I hope that in the future maybe that gets remedied or they go to a different site for it. But I will not be going back to that this year. It has nothing to do with Last year's experience, it has to do with the fact that I got accepted to a larger event in a um, different area, and profit wise, I'm going to go to the other event because I know I'll make more money there. I feel like a sellout when I say that.
No, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
Um, is the Wizard Market next?
Um, no, Coastal Con
Oh
is.
yes, we had Coastal in Wilmington.
Yeah, I would say that this is a uh fun.
Yeah, fun convention. I would put this in the fun category. As the name says, it's right there on the coast. It was a nice, easy drive in. It's in a accessible location. Kind of in the middle of the East Coast. It's about a 4.5 hour drive for us, but
Yeah, and we passed the Bucky's.
yep, and that always enhances and makes the trip more expensive. Uh,
It's so
if
fun there.
if it's gonna pass a Bucky's, I basically could fly. It's gonna be the same price. So uh, but that being said, this was a really good convention. I really enjoyed it, and the setup is really good. The host hotel is right there, like 2 minute walk from the actual convention. It's
Yeah,
right next door.
it's connected, so that's
Yeah,
nice. It's weird because you do have to go outside in order to get into the buildings, but the building is connected to the hotel. Like they share a
yeah,
wall, but they don't share a door, and
yeah,
that's weird to me. So you have to go out and then go in. But the convention site is beautiful. The hotel itself has a coffee shop. Love that. And we had a great time. I got glitter in my hair while we were there. So that was fun, especially for a first year convention.
yeah.
This was like amazing. Um,
The quality of cosplay there.
so good.
Yeah.
So good. Those twins that we met.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, we're both following them ever since then. They had an awesome Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah, I mean,
It was great.
fun time.
The same people that run Soda City run Coastal Con, and I have to say they did amazing. And we will be going back to that one this year. So if you're gonna be in Wilmington, come by and see us in March.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm very excited about that one. Okay, so now it's the market. Uh, and that one's gonna be avoid, avoid, avoid.
Yeah,
This was probably the worst experience that we had last year. Um,
if not period. I mean,
yeah,
this was a long drive for us. This is Jacksonville. It's about 4.5 hours. We weren't even there that long. I don't think we left this one early.
yeah, we left in the middle of the day.
Yeah, we had such a bad experience at this one from the vendor setup. When you got there, people really didn't know what was going on. Um, the staff at this convention, I gotta say, was rude.
Yeah,
They were not professional, and that's one of the things that I really like kind of harp on. It's like, yeah, a lot of these conventions, it's like, yes, they deal with all these different fandoms and things like that, but at the same time, it's got to be a business, and you have to conduct yourself in a business manner. And the site staff here was very unprofessional. I thought it was disorganized. The venue was neat, like the
yeah,
train yard.
the venue is very neat. I thought it was pretty. I'm not quite sure that it was set up for a market type format in the way that they laid it out.
Yeah, agreed.
I think that maybe it could have been laid out better. Um, there was only one staff member that I felt was kind, and she did her best, and I very much appreciate her, but it was still awful. I usually do not leave events early. I try my hardest not to. Even if it's not that great, I'll stick it out. This one did not. No, we were leaving and we left. It was quite awful, and even some of the attendees didn't have a good time. So that it was an experience. Needless to say, will not be going back again this year. But I do wish them the best and hope that they took the feedback that was given to them last year and use it to better the experience. But I just won't be there to find out.
Right, agreed. Yeah.
this one and some concerns for it last year.
Yeah, we went this year. And I'll preface it. We had a great time this year, and all the feedback, some of which we're about to talk about from last year, seems like it was heavily taken into consideration.
Yeah. So last year it was held at a DoubleTree. So it was basically held in like a smaller convention ballroom type thing for a hotel. I would say it's more like where you would have a reception for a wedding than have a convention. So it wasn't, I don't think it was large enough to accommodate what they were trying to do. And that it was very tight. It was super hard for people to move, vendor wise or attendee wise. There just wasn't a lot of breathing space at all. And the parking situation was very crowded. Again, it just wasn't, everything about it was tight. It was very tight.
Yeah, it was honestly, they probably could have run that market with half of the vendors and it would have been acceptable. But even then, I mean, there were a lot of vendors that were like tucked back into places of the venue where people didn't even know they were back there.
Yeah.
There were vendors that like, probably didn't make anything at all that day and even lost money on the booth for this one. But as I said, a lot of that feedback all seems to have been taken into consideration for this year. We had a much different experience. So when we do this for 2025, it will be a much different. It definitely has moved up a spot or two. We had a great time, but
yeah,
the 2024 version.
Yeah, 2024 version, some concerns.
Yeah.
But the thing that will have me coming back to this con is that they heard those concerns and they listened and they changed locations and they gave people more space and it was a totally different experience and everyone seemed to have a really good time this year. So I very much respect that type of, I guess, convention runner. The
Yes.
fact that they listened and then they made the adjustments that were necessary is like a huge deal.
Important to any business of any kind, really.
Yeah. Okay, so next would be MomoCon.
Yes. Momo, our first one to go right into that's Soda City.
Oh no, Soda City, come back down.
Poor Soda City.
You're gonna go back up there, but whee!
Yeah, we'll get to you in a minute, Soda City. Don't worry. MomoCon is always on Memorial Day weekend. This one's in Atlanta. This is one of the big ones, and we always have a great time at this.
Yes, we've been going for years. He's been going longer than me. I've been going since 2018.
Yep, she typically teaches classes at this. She has a couple of panels that she's in charge of. She does flower crowns there, obviously crochet classes,
Yeah,
and also wand making. But then also this year, 2025,
I'm gonna be a vendor. I'm so excited. I've been applying to be a vendor there for 5 years. And I got in this year, and so I'm very excited to experience that side of it. It is going to be amazing. So I will still be teaching my panels, and I'll also have a booth, and I'm very excited.
it won't be overwhelming at all.
No, not at all. Not at all. But we are going to have a hotel that is super, super close. We're just going to be right across the street, and so that is going to be pleasing. Thank you, Jamie.
It's got a Starbucks.
Yeah, it's got a Starbucks. It's got coffee. I like places that have coffee. That makes me happy. Yeah. We So that's going to be great. We'll just be able to pop right across the street, and then the site is the Georgia World Congress Center. It's huge. So it is still a walk, even though it is right across the street to where the vendors will be. Hopefully this year, MomoCon will have that layout different than it was last year. I heard that they are going to go back to the original layout that they had and not the one that they had to use last year because somebody else booked before they could reserve it. So this year, where the vendors are should not be as much of a trek to get to. I think that would be my only complaint about MomoCon last year was the vendors were very far from the entrance.
Yeah, I mean, to put it in perspective, if you were standing at the entrance and there was no one in there, it would take you 15 minutes to walk to the vendor hall.
Yeah.
You add 50,000 people on top of that, and now you're looking at it could take you 45 minutes just to walk there. It was not a great situation, and the traffic as a result of it, like the human traffic, was very crazy uh, and chaotic and often congested.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm hoping that they got that squared away this year. MomoCon has a good problem. They're a fast growing convention. They're an evolving convention. You know, when they first opened, this was very family centric. But now you have people who were, 10 or 11 going to their first MomoCon when it first started. And now these are adults. And they're going, and, you get attached to specific conventions. And so the con is
Growing
it's
with them.
yeah, growing and evolving, and so there's a little growing pains sometimes. So I'm hoping it's a much better setup this year.
Yeah, and I will always give a shout out to the workshop crew. They are amazing at MomoCon. They have their stuff together. They are extremely organized in the workshop group, and yeah, they have wonderful interactions with them every time. I will never complain about the workshop and the panel people. They're amazing.
Yeah, out of everything that we go to across the board, I mean, they are just always on top of it.
Yeah. So MobileCon, wonderful. Go, go, go. It's going to be great.
Yeah, come see us there.
So the next one that we went to was Soda City, and we will put that right up into must attend. Soda City is an amazing convention. We have a great time every year. It is a very profitable experience. We make a lot of money there. And it is very close to our house, and so we don't have to have the expense of a hotel. We just go and then we come home at night, and that is nice.
Yeah, this was in Columbia, South Carolina. This is a really fun one. It's also, I would say, for the size of this convention, and it's growing every year too.
Yeah.
For the size of this one, the guests that they have are astronomical. I mean, they always have one or two like really big guests. They had Peter Cullen last year, who's the voice of Optimus Prime. The year before that, they had Sean Astin from, well, I mean, if you don't know. I don't know what to tell you if you don't know. If you're watching this video and somehow don't know who that is. But, yeah, I mean, this was amazing.
Yeah, they had about 8,000 people there last year.
Yeah.
So it is, I guess, as far as like a convention goes, kind of like smaller to mid-size.
Yep.
But it is very well planned. The people are extremely nice. The site is a very nice site. Parking's pretty easy. It's just a great experience all around. The kids love it. And I will always go to Soda City and support. Basically, if they tell me they're running a new event like they did last year with Coastal Con, I'm like, sign me up, because I haven't had a bad experience really with them, and I will continue to work with them. They're amazing, and I very much look forward to going back every year. One of the reasons I like going is because this usually takes place a week or two before Dragon Con. And we like Dragon Con spending money, so
yes.
So Dragon Con would be next, and we're gonna put that in must attend.
Oh yeah. So 2024 was the year I finally got her to go to Dragon Con. And she was kind of having some like health stuff going on at the time, but
yeah,
fortunately you got to have like 2 days to really enjoy it. And
I spent, I would say, majority of it sleeping in a hotel room because I was really sick. But after I started feeling better, I was able to go out and adventure. I had a wonderful experience with the vendor hall. I absolutely loved it. The top floor, which is the artist alley,
yeah,
is my favorite there. It was really fun interacting with the artist. We got to meet one of the artists for Harry Dresden, and I thought that was really cool. And then some of the artwork that's on the wall behind us I bought there, which just makes me so happy because it's so cute.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah, one of the pieces is a Steve Argyle piece. He does a lot of the Cosmere art, and he also does a lot of magic cards.
Yeah, so there's a little dragon cat that's playing with yarn. I couldn't leave that. It had to come home with me. um, I also had a wonderful experience when we got our picture taken with the cast of Baldur's Gate.
That was incredible. I also got to attend their panel there, which was awesome. They were by far the most sought out guests in the whole convention. And I mean, this is a convention that had so many big names there. I mean, three of the four Hobbits were present. Vincent D'Onofrio was there. Mike Coulter. They did a panel together where they talked about their Marvel characters, Kingpin and Luke Cage, respectively. Um, there was just, I tell people all the time, you know, if you completely run yourself ragged for the entire time, and I mean, you get like 4 hours of sleep, you could probably see 10-15% of it.
I think
it's massive.
My favorite thing that I did besides the vendor hall and the pictures was going to the swap. I really loved, like, they had like this trinket swap where you just go and you give people things and then they give you a thing back, and it was amazing. I made little crochet butterflies and I gave them stuff and then they gave me things, and I loved it so much. I actually have some of the things that I got from there. I got this little rubber ducky. I have them up on my computer thing. I got little rubber ducky. I got little poops. And then I have some other stuff that I'm actually saving for when I go back next year that I'm going to use as, like, I swapped this last year, but I'm going to hold on to it and swap it again. I don't know. I look forward to it. It's fun.
DragonCon has such an incredible culture. I'd say it's probably the only convention I've been to that has such a culture around the con itself. It's almost like the con itself is one of the fandoms there, maybe the biggest fandom. And there's like all these different things. So if you're planning to make your first trip to Dragon Con, like do some research on like the different Dragon Con cults, and you can have some fun there for sure. But there is so much to do at Dragon Con. There's something for everybody, and it just gets bigger and bigger every year, it feels like. So
as someone who was a newbie going to Dragon Con last year, I would say also you need to get yourself a Dragon Con veteran.
Yeah.
Because I got dropped off, my Uber dropped me off at the wrong hotel. And so I got dropped off at the Westin, and I was supposed to be
at the Marriott.
At the Marriott, which is
a few blocks away.
Yeah, and I was upset. I don't like getting lost. And all I did was I took a picture of the hotel lobby that I was in. He knew exactly where I was. He told me just to sit down and wait. And so I did, and he came right to me, and I felt so good. I stayed right in front of the information booth because I didn't know where I was gonna, like, what do I do? I don't like being alone, and so it was an experience, but he got there before I started crying, so it was great.
Yeah, it was an adventure, that's for sure. But we did the thing, and it was awesome. And love the photo we have of the Baldur's Gate crew. They were so fun.
So kind. Oh my gosh, the voice of Astarion.
Yeah. Yeah. She blushing. I can see it in the camera. But yeah, so we got to meet them, and you could just tell that they have such a good like rapport with each other, and they were just so fun to be around. I really hope that they come back this year. I know they're going to be at AWA this year, or were last year. I can't really. I can never keep up with when that is, but that's not one of the ones on this list. So
yeah. All right. So next, you didn't go to this one, but I went with Dawn and Jazzy and James to this one. And I would say that this was a fun convention. This is Multiverse. Multiverse was a small convention. I would say they really only had like a couple of hundred people there, maybe 500 to 600 people there. It was small, but extremely well thought out. It supported independent authors. Did I say it right?
Authors.
I can never say that word right.
There's no R until the end.
Yeah. Authors. Well, okay. But they had independent people there, and so you got to see and interact with people who wrote the books, and that was really fun. They did have some workshops, and I taught a flower crown class. The the event might have been small, but it was very profitable. So I don't mind small events, especially when people spend money at the small events. And so while there weren't a lot of people there, there were a lot of people who um, came by and spent a lot of time with us. We did some trades with other vendors. It was really fun. I bought a very tiny set. Well, I didn't buy, I traded with them, but I got a very tiny set of dice. They had food that they brought to the vendors. I knew that there was food. I didn't know they were going to bring it to me, and that was pleasant. I didn't have to go anywhere. They just brought it right to me.
Vendor Dash.
It was so cool. And everything there was also very health conscious as far as the food went. And so I didn't have to worry about can I eat this or can I not. And that was nice. They had a con suite that was easy to find. And I took advantage of that. My youngin', I'm sorry, he drank basically all of your Coke. But thank you for, putting up with him. I appreciate that.
Sometimes that's how it is.
The hotel that hosted it was also very nice. We stayed at the host hotel, and I had a great time and great experience with the hotel as well. So I very much enjoyed it, and I look forward to going back again, hopefully this year if everything works out. Yeah, I'm not accepted yet as a vendor. I don't even think they've opened up the applications yet, but I will apply when it comes back around, and I look forward to going back again.
Yeah, maybe this year if you go back, I'll get to go.
Yeah, I think you would like the books. Like it's very book heavy, and
I do like the books.
I loved it. They also had a silent auction for like artwork, and some of the artwork that was there was amazing. Oh my gosh, beautiful, beautiful artwork. Could not bid on any of it because could not afford it by the time I went around to it. But I very much understand why there was lots of competing for certain pieces. I did win a baseball cap though, and I'm very proud of it. It says enemies to lovers on it, and yeah, very much a fan of that.
Speaking of the books,
yeah,
we have our last one.
Yeah, so actually, the last event that we went to is also a book convention, and that was Dragonsteel, and I'm going to put that in must attend.
Yep, this is definitely a must attend. This one was our first time at Dragonsteel. This was the longest that we've ever traveled for, well, as long as you've ever traveled for a convention. Second longest I've ever traveled, because I have gone to San Diego for San Diego Comic-Con, but this was a long journey.
Yeah, it was in Salt Lake, Utah.
Yeah.
Or Salt Lake City, Utah, I guess.
It's basically a day of traveling for us. But what an adventure.
It was so fun. Utah is a very weird alien landscape though.
Yes.
It's very strange there.
It's the strangest place I've ever been to. By far, just as far as like the landscape there. It's very dry, very high elevation, and it's not really mountainous. It's flat, and then there are mountains, but it is otherwise flat. Very strange place.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been all over, and that's the strangest place I've ever been to. However, this was an amazing convention. If you like Brandon Sanderson's works in any way, shape, or form, you should absolutely make the trek to Dragonsteel at least once. This was the biggest Dragonsteel they've ever had. They actually changed the name to Dragonsteel Nexus this year. It's going to be called that going forward. And in the past they used to call it a mini con. I think the mini is officially gone.
Yeah, it's no longer mini. It was not mini while we were there. There were many people there. There is lots of people there.
Yeah, I mean the book release for us. So we were at the international release party. So it was. I think we waited in line about an hour or so to get in there. Mm-hmm. And then we waited another probably 90 minutes for the books themselves.
Yeah.
So it was a lot. It was all totally worth it though.
It was so great. The lines weren't bad either because even though we were in line for a while, people just kind of like sat down and we talked about books with strangers. It was great.
Yeah, it's a singular interest. You know, like everybody there is a Sanderson fan, um, and there's a lot of authors that are kind of Sanderson adjacent. Like Robin Hobb was there, and like they have a lot of stuff. Dan Wells. So there's a lot of like very like-minded, similar interest people there. So it's very easy to like just strike up a conversation with the person next to you.
Yeah, it was very pleasant. I had a wonderful time. I extremely loved their con game where you had to go around and get stamps from different places saying that you went to it.
We actually have.
And then when you got got a page full of stamps, you could take it and you could turn it in and you could get one of these. I still have some that over here. You would get a story deck pack, and then you could open the story deck packs, and there were 3 stories that you could get.
Yeah. So you have the different stories, and then the stories, the back of the cards actually make art. So you have the story across the cards, and then when you get that page done, it actually makes an art page. And they were selling these really awesome little books that hold all the cards too, which was.
I
Really
don't think they expected people to love it, the story deck and trading card stuff as much as people were, because they only had one location for you to turn in your stamps, and that became very, very bottlenosed.
Yeah, it was a huge problem for that in particular. Everything else
was fine.
great, but that in particular, I think they underestimated how popular the cards were going to be. Brandon accidentally created a trading card game.
Like he accidentally writes books.
Yeah.
Yeah. I personally loved getting the stamps because every stamp was different. So like there was a crochet vendor there and she had a stamp and it had a dragon holding the crochet hook on it. It was so cute. And so yeah, I enjoyed collecting the different stamps. So
And they gave you a nice little passport.
yeah, to keep everything in. And so I still have my passport. It's upstairs in my room. And I'll just randomly be like, oh, look, stamps.
And I will say this, like for the price of the convention, it was so worth it. Like you get so much value out of this. You can tell that the place is not like nickel and diming you. They probably could have spaced the vendor hall a little better, but once again, like I said, this is their biggest con ever. They were not expecting this. They sold out of all of the badges to this convention, I think, in under an hour. I think
Yeah.
VIP was in under a minute. We actually crashed the website that they sell the badges on multiple times.
I was scared that we weren't going to get tickets, honestly.
Me too. Yeah.
But we were able to get some. And it was amazing. I don't think we'll be going back this year, but we are planning on going back in 2028.
Yeah. So if the crowds are really a sticking point for you and they bother you a lot, 2025 might be a good year for you to go. It's a Skyward release. This is going to be so there's a book release the big book release every year at the convention. So this is a Skyward year, which we love Skyward, but it is not as popular as something like Stormlight. So there will probably be a little bit less people there and at least a little bit easier to get access to the badges in the convention this year. So if you want to go on a chill year, this is probably the year to go. We are definitely going to be returning in 2028 for the launch of Mistborn Era 3.
Yes, I'm very excited about that. And yeah, I think it's going to be super awesome because by then I'm going to be very deprived.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm going to need all of the new content, please.
Yeah. Well, that's it. That's our conventions for this year.
Yeah, so we had a staircase.
Yeah. Yeah, it just happened to work out that way.
I very much love that. It's very satisfying. But yeah, next year we'll do it again for the conventions that we are going to this year. I've already been to two.
AugustaCon, and what was the other one?
Animate.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot all about that.
Then next week I'll be going to my third convention. So I'll definitely have more than 10 next year. But I'm very excited about the growth that I'm going to be able to do, and also being able to see all of these people that I'm meeting and all the traveling. I don't like travel time, but I really like seeing new things. And so I'm looking forward to those adventures for
Yeah,
this year.
yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a blast. So,
Yeah. But anyway, if you like listening to our rambles, please give it a like and maybe hit the subscribe button. And I guess we'll see y'all next time.
bye.
Bye.